All right, we are back after our Rookie of the Year Pauper Cube draft to look at everyone's pools. So normally I immediately sort everything by rarity. That won't be necessary here because usually I like to look at let's see if they have any shiny rares or mythics. Here, that's not a thing. So we'll start with Colton here, who looks like a blue-white drafter, possibly playing green. Has some interaction, but has some nice spells here. All stuff I like. Exclude, Rain of Revelation has the straight up OG counter spell.
Yeah, he's in a bit of an interesting spot where
Ooh, Thraben
um,
Inspector. I'm a fan.
he's in a bit of a classic trap where he's got a lot of good cards, but a lot of his interaction are these green fight spells. If you scroll down to see the clear shot, the prey upon, the hunt, the weak, and his creatures are mostly on the small side. He's got a lot of small creatures with good ETBs or Murmuring Mystic that sits there and spits out 1/1s when you cast your good spells.
Yeah,
So if he builds this deck as like a blue-white based permissions deck that maybe splashes like the Wave Sifter and I don't know, maybe another
that's it.
one or two of the green value cards, I think I would be on board with that. That deck seems it might be a bit flimsy, but I think that would be a good deck. If he tries to be like full on Bant and play all these fight spells, I'm a bit skeptical as to how well that's going to work out for
This
him.
looks like a blue white deck to me. I mean, there's flyers. There's some interaction in the form of counter spells.
Yeah, his
We got
interaction.
a Frogify. We got a bounce spell. We got card draw. We got face fetters. I mean, like not super high on actual removal, but I feel when you have flyers, the removal is a little less important. This
His
looks like
interaction.
hopefully a blue white deck to me. I would not be thinking that green would be something really great.
He does have all the fixing for it. He's got a bunch of green dual lands. So if he wants to, he can cast those spells. I'm just not sure how good they're
Yeah,
going to be. But his interaction is just elite. Like,
yeah,
look at his counter suite, look at his removal
beautiful.
suite.
Yeah, I like it.
If he's able to like get through the first couple of turns of a game without being like severely down on board, I'm a big fan of this deck. And it can do some unfair things too with like evoking solar migration and flickering in
Yeah,
response.
you got a
We're doing the
momentary blink here. Yeah, look. Anybody who knows me knows I like myself a blue white deck in limited. Probably my
is there
favorite thing to
is there
do, and I approve
like
of
look
this
at
one.
you put exclude in your pool. Look at exclude. Is that just like 3 mana counter target creature draw a card?
It
Yeah,
is. It is. It
that card
was. It was
slaps.
originally printed as a common. I don't even know if it's been reprinted ever as a common, aside from its first reprinting in like one of the old sets. So, but it qualifies. All right.
If you get excluded limited, it is an awful
So
feeling.
on to
This is our
Philip B, who's our red drafter, who may throw in some blue spells, but may not even have to here. It's got our classic red aggro cards here, nice attackers. Just the deck wants to creatures want to attack. He's got some blue cards here. He does have the Mole Drifter and a Mist Raven, so maybe good enough to play the blue cards here. But
Mr.
let's.
Raven.
So Unholy
So
Heat's got a Lava Coil, Brimstone Volley, Fiery Temper. Uncaged Fury can get a lot of damage in. He has some steel spells if that's the thing his deck wants to do.
so
So
Richard,
nice red deck
do you
here.
do you cut blue and cut Muldrifter if you're you?
Well, I don't know if I end up with this pool if I see a Muldrifter at any point in the draft, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sure he'll make the decision that's best for his pool. I might even just throw Muldrifter as my only blue card, just because, I mean, look
Yeah.
at it. Come on.
Miss Raven, excellent card, but is double pipped, right?
Yeah,
That's
real
that's a
good.
huge difference.
And this Storm God's Oracle, very interesting card. A very strange card, but very, very interesting.
That card, I believe, was meant as a delirium enabler
Yeah, because it's an
in
enchantment creature
Alpha.
that can sack
Yeah,
itself, basically, for
exactly.
cost. So another deck will be interesting to see exactly how it's built, if the blue makes its way in, or if it just is this red beat down deck here that we see. And he does actually have a rare. So this card was originally a rare, and it got downgraded to common for one of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
double
It's
masters
like
set.
the eighth best card in this deck.
All right, so on to Brendan Y. It looks like he's our Golgari player. Pretty much straight up black green with nothing to splash
Yeah.
and no reason to do so. Murder,
This deck
Feed the Swarm, Chainer's Edict. I like to unearth Bone Shards, a couple fight spells.
this deck is here for the grind, and it
Oh
has
yeah,
all the tools you could want.
yeah. Got
Uh,
some sack outlets, got some sack fodder. Oh yeah, he's got tons of sack
Nobody.
fodder. This is an interesting Bloodbriar. Interesting card.
Yeah,
That could be
that
a
can
good
be
one.
big. Perilous
Wow.
Mirror, great sack
Very
fodder.
nice. Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
got a
this
few
deck,
sack outlets here. Defiant Salvager, Bloodful Connoisseur, Legion Vanguard. So, Bone Shards
like
as well.
based on what we've seen,
I like
right?
it.
Like this deck to me feels like it would line up well against the mono red deck. It would just be able to like throw stuff in the way and grind it out.
And he's got good cheap
Um,
plays too. Like good cheap plays. Like you
yeah,
trade with Direfleet Hoarder, leaves behind a treasure. You trade with Putrid Goblin, it leaves behind itself as a 1/1 with amazing
conversely,
flavor text here. Too stupid to survive, too dumb to die. Classic.
conversely, I think it might struggle against our blue white drafter. Like it's not
Yeah.
got much gain against flyers. Like if
Yeah,
you look at
that could
this,
be a problem.
its removal suite is probably weaker than the other. Um, I take that back. Actually, no. The bone shards murder for the swarm are
Oh,
good
there's more
cards.
cards
Change
here.
against
I was only on cards here. There's more to the story. I always leave. There's a Phyrexian Gargantua too, which wasn't in his initial build, but hopefully makes its way in because I love
that
myself
card.
Phyrexian Gargantua. That's another card that got downgraded recently. So yeah.
Yeah, this deck looks like it knows what it wants to do.
All
We'll
right.
just see how well that pans out.
So next is Michael. I believe it's Michael the Monkey Mage.
Monkey Mage, yeah.
It looks like his
Um,
colors are a little thinly spread here.
I have to assume he's just going to cut at least the blue and red cards. Like,
Yeah.
is this like after he's no? This is
No,
all 45.
this is just the
This is
pure
after,
cards, but
right.
looks like it's going to be white green with some sort of splash. And these cards don't really do all that much together. They're just sort of cards. Like all these green cards are just ramp spells. Caryatid, Sylvan finds you a land, Rejuvenator ramps you, Spring Bloom. So there's no big top end.
But you know what he does have is he has 3 thriving lands, and those are five
Yep.
color fixer lands. He's got Cultivate, also a 5 color fixer. He's got Ornithopter Paradise, 5 color fixer. He's got Spring Bloom Druid, 5 color fixer. If he wants to go full Caryatid, any color.
Yep.
If he wants to go full 5 color nonsense, he's got the tools.
Ornithopter as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like what is he ramping to? What's the big payoff? Like Din Rovahor, like pretty good, but like a Cloud Reader Sphinx, is that your big finisher? I don't like. I'm not sure here. It has a lot of ways to get the mana. It's just what are we doing with the mana? Not too sure, but he does. To be fair, there's not that much. Like there's not that many big gigantic green creatures running around at common. There's a few, but they're not like super plentiful. Might end up playing this cast down. Might end up even playing this lotless giant if he feels he needs something big. But does have a couple flyers here, so it can go on that plan. Not too much removal here, but yeah. So he went for the multicolor. So we'll see how he builds the deck. But there's a lot of different ways to go and choices to make here.
Definitely an interesting build for him.
Right, up next is Christopher S., who, if you remember, Brothers War League just had one of the craziest starting pools we've ever seen, and just ran it up, easily into top 8 that time. Looks like he's also green white, so not quite next to Michael, 2 seats over, but looks like he got the big stuff that you want to ramp to. Croson Tusker, Colossal Dreadmaw. I mean, Funnel Web Recluse not a big thing, but Daggertooth is big. This is big too. So he sort of got the big green bodies here, and he's got some nice white spells too. Nice
It's
little nice little green white deck here.
it's a good thing that our drafter Philip didn't follow my impulse to switch into green white, because that would have worked out really bad for him because both his neighbors did the same.
Has some
Captured by
removal here. Ram through, Smell Fear. Captured by Lagax, really good card. Travel Preparations, just a beater. Like, how many games have you played in limited with Travel Preparations, a format where opponent just went, or you went, creature turn 2, creature turn 3, turn 4, put 2 counters on both, and just run away with the game?
he does have a lot of cards that put counters on things. Although I'm not sure that there's any like +1/+1 kind of synergy.
There's Deepwood
per
Denizen here. So
Okay.
you could pay 6 to tap and draw a card, but it costs 1 less for each +1 counter that's in play. So yeah, so he has a little bit of +1 counter synergy. Like I said, it's going to be hard to find really real like payoffs for a lot of these things, but you know he's got good, honest to goodness, giant growth as well. The original combat trick. So nice little green white deck here. Looks like he was in competition with Michael, and he might have came up with some of the better things you want to be doing in green, especially with the larger creatures. And we'll close out our pool review here, since we skipped over Philip since we saw his draft, with the beatdown bringer, our rookie who he was rookie of the league and won the league back in DMU. So is he a black white player or Esper, something like that?
Yeah, I think he's Esper artifacts. Although Esper tokens as well is a valid
Oh
description.
yeah,
But Esper,
he does have a nice few artifacts here.
I think he thought he was artifacts in pack one and then moved off it a bit
I
to
mean,
just kind of.
Vampire Sovereign, crazy card to get downgraded to common also. Well,
You mean flying siege rhino?
yeah, like, well, that's what these master sets do, right? It's like, well, everything's powerful, so we can just downgrade stuff. Well, good for us because we get to play with them here.
What's his what's his removal suite like? Like
He's got a
there's
Reeve
some pretty.
Soul, Tragic Slip, Wanderer's Strike. He's got the Battle Screech, like you mentioned. Blue
He's got a
doesn't
lot.
have too much removal. There's Transmutation. He has this card from Ixalan originally. Make 3/1/1 lifelinks.
I want to shout out and highlight the battle screech. I know I mentioned
Yeah,
this.
that's crazy card. Like this is one of the best cards in my paper, Pauper Cube, which covers all of Magic history, not just what's on Arena and what's been in
Card is
Master Set.
just lingering souls, but dare I say, better.
Yeah, this is a top 5 card for me, at least in my Pauper Cube, and my Pauper Cube is more powerful than this, so this is definitely a top 5 card in this cube. Like I said, the ones I shouted out originally was like Muldrifter, Lightning Bolt, Battle Screech. In my paper cube, there's a couple others that get that bill too, like Demir Guildmage, which
Bolt was in this.
and other
Bolt was
things.
in this.
But sorry,
I don't think we saw anyone draft the bolt. Right? Where did the bolt go?
I guess it. Well, we had a player missing, so there's 45 cards that did not get drafted here. So yeah, we got some artifacts here. So he's got the fixing. I'm not sure if the blue is going to make its way in, but if it does, I'm sure he'll make good use of it here.
The blue has like you would not run it particularly for those creatures, but
No, he is a pretty creative player, so I think he'll.
think twice, compulsive research, and sift,
I mean, it's
especially like
good card draw.
excellent value
Yeah.
in limited format where like you're probably likely to wind up with excess lands in hand. Those I think I could reasonably justify splashing for.
Right. So we see our drafters here, sort of we see what they drafted, and we'll be back in a little bit for round one, and we'll see which of these players can get into Player of the Year tournament. So that'll be coming up shortly. Round one coming up.